Welcome everyone to a special edition of the Court Martial Podcast. I am your Colonial Champion Sean McCarty, and I'm flying solo here today because I did this podcast kind of in the spur of the moment. To lay the groundwork for this most recent SmackDown, which was Friday the 2nd, Groundhog's Day, there was a promo where Cody confronted Roman Reigns, and without so much, he wasn't really tearing up, but you could tell the emotion that Cody was feeling. Basically said, I'm coming after you, but not at WrestleMania. And basically just handed off the main event to The Rock, who comes in, hugs Cody, says something like, your time will come. And Cody walks back to the back, completely defeated, completely deflated. The Rock and Roman Reigns have a stare down, and that's how they close the show. And since then, almost everybody I have seen has completely crapped on this decision. And I am here to join them. So, editor, I think you know what I want to put right here. Play the clip.
When will you learn? When will you learn that your actions have consequences?
That's really my overall statement of this. When will you learn that your actions have consequences? And I just have a few key points to make here, and I'm not going to take up everybody's time too much. I just want to get some things off my chest. First of all, little did we know when Cody said, I'm more CM Punk than you, in reference to CM Punk, that he meant that. Because here he goes literally sidestepping to The Rock, which was maybe part of why I think people were so perturbed. I know that's why I was offended. Because it's one thing for The Rock to show up and then kind of shoehorn his way in. It's another thing for the entire segment for Cody to be, hi, here's my title opportunity. Let me just hand it to The Rock while I go fight tertiary belt Rollins on night one to quote-unquote finish the story, which will no longer be finished because Cody is done. And I'm going to get to that in a second. Because there's a lot of implications to what this was, and to what this is, and to what it means for WWE, both short and long term. Now, I'm sure that many of you saw Josh Ageddon's video on this, link in the description, where Josh Ageddon proceeded to throw away all of his WWE DVDs, and basically just scorched earth the company, and I'm not going to do that. Although I do understand the sentiment, as he described in the chat, this was basically his AEW Crown of Thorns moment, which I can relate to. For those of you who don't know what I mean by that, back in 2022, AEW did a match between Adam Cole and Adam Page on a random episode of Dynamite, which was some sort of Texas death match, I'm sure. And Adam Page put a crown of barbed wire, with the Jesus symbolism and all that, onto Adam Cole, and then gave him a dead eye through a table to the outside for a 2 count, meaningless spot. And I got so upset because if nobody gives a shit about people being upset or perturbed by that on TNT programming, if they're that level stupid to allow that kind of a spot, then there's no hope for them. And it turns out that that was an accurate statement. Little did we know how accurate that would be. But this isn't about AEW today. That's just so. But Josh again said that's basically what this was that moment for him. And I could understand that. Because all the goodwill that has been built up by the WWE since Triple H took over the booking, which has been on and off, it hasn't been downright terrible, hasn't been downright bad. It's averaged from very, very, very good and sometimes great to, it wasn't anything to write home about, and everything in between. And the biggest mark of Triple H has been this 3-year run of Roman Reigns. It's particularly in the last couple, as they've really prolonged, pushed this out and made it go on. And it just makes me laugh, because it's like Michael Cole said at the end of the Rumble, hey Roman, what inning are we in now? And now I feel like Samuel Jackson in Pulp Fiction going, we ain't even playing the same sport. And what this symbolism does of Rock and Roman, they're gonna do Rock and Roman at WrestleMania, whether it's for the belt or not. We're still far enough away that maybe this this reaction was intentional as a means of trying to like re-shoehorn Cody back in. And, you know, maybe we're reading into this a little too early, right? They may have a way to reverse this. I just don't feel it. I feel like they're going with Rock and Roman, and that's going to be the match that they do, because The Rock has outwardly admitted that they'll do ridiculous business by having that match. And here's the problem. He's right. They are going to record record numbers. They're going to get record attendance. They're going to get record viewership, and they're going to get record income out of the result of this. But people have been waiting and watching for this storyline with Cody to develop and pay off for a year longer than it should have been. And yet they were still holding out hope that Cody was still going to be able to do it, and maybe he will still. But the symbolism of what was done on Friday night really, it makes it not matter. Because it goes to show that if, no matter what WWE is, no matter who's booking, no matter who's in charge, if they can take the thing you want away from you, they're going to. And there's a big difference between doing that for the sake of getting heat on somebody and getting heat on the company for taking way too long to do it. And it is more apparent now than ever before that they have missed their chance with Cody Rhodes. It was WrestleMania 39 Night 2 or bust for Cody. And they have tried to keep Cody relevant and to keep Cody popular. And for the most part, he is. But you can't tell me that he's going to be that way in another year's time. Because if the end goal of this is Roman Reigns beating The Rock and then passing Hogan's record in September, that means that the earliest he's going to lose it is Survivor Series, which he's probably not even going to compete on, which means they're waiting for WrestleMania 41. And at that point, the cause is lost. People have already turned on this Bloodline promo. They've already turned on this storyline. It started with him and Jay. Roman and Jay at SummerSlam, which sucked. It sucked. And that leads to another question. Realistically, how good is this match going to be between The Rock and Roman Reigns? Roman Reigns still can work, but The Rock gets blown up just walking to the ring now because he's so goddamn roided up that there's no way his cardio is going to keep up with all those steroids. Yeah, I said what I said. There's no way that is normal. I'm sorry. I know that steroids have come a long way and a lot of them are a lot healthier than they used to be, but that does not mean that The Rock... Look at that man and tell me that is natural. You can't. And the problem... Here's the thing. That's not even my biggest problem with this. It's the fact that The Rock has done exactly this for 20 years. Come in, taken some other spot, put himself as the center of attention, shown up, left, and accomplished nothing except a random one-off buy rate, which is the whole point. And I get that this is the whole point, and this is going to draw money. It's going to draw people's attention. It's going to get eyes that were not normally on the product. And that's fine. That is fine. I'm not saying I don't get that. But there are a lot of people who WWE, and namely Vince McMahon, ran off from nonsensical booking and teasing people and never giving it to them until finally people just outwardly protested so badly that Daniel Bryan got the 2014 champion. It's literally 10 years ago they made this exact same mistake, but with Batista and Randy Orton, and yet here we are making the same mistake of... And I don't think they're going to backtrack the way that they did with Batista and Randy Orton. Not with The Rock on the board of TKO. It's not going to be like that this time. And, you know, maybe I'm jumping the gun. Maybe this reaction was intentional. But from what I'm seeing, a lot of the goodwill that Triple H built up in making people think that this company was different, that this booking was different, and that they were going to take these things seriously and these kinds of changes seriously, and that they were going to have sensible and more logical booking, which for the most part they do. But when it comes to the thing that matters the most, which is this title reign and Cody Rhodes and the buildup of Cody Rhodes, the bottom line is they had one shot. They had one good shot. They had the perfect shot last year at WrestleMania 39. They said no. And they tried to keep Cody relevant, and Cody did his best to stay relevant, but then he wins the Royal Rumble because Punk gets hurt. And instead of having Cody do something meaningful, he's literally giving up the golden ticket to go fight an already injured Seth Rollins for a belt that nobody cares about and is not going to be the level of prestige that Cody Rhodes. It's not the same. It's not him finishing his story. And they're going to try and make it seem like he's finishing his story going after Seth Rollins. And the reality of that is, what it's reminding the fans is that Cody Rhodes is a consolation prize wrestler at best. That is not my opinion. That is their opinion. They don't want a Rhodes as world's champion. Period. The name Rhodes and top guy in WWE will never be one and the same. That is a fact. And even if Cody wins this belt in the future, it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter anymore. They have waited too long. They have milked this too hard. And I think what's going to happen, as is happening with me, is that I just don't care now. I don't care who beats Roman Reigns for that belt. It's gone on for too long. Its meaning is gone because there is such a thing as taking too long to get to the point, which is really the through line of every Triple H match you've ever seen. Every Triple H match I know of has a great 10 to 15 minute match in it, but they can never get to the point and get to the finish, so it ends up going 25. Think about the Batista Triple H match at WrestleMania a few years back. Think about Triple H and Daniel Bryan that night. WrestleMania 3, that match was very good, but it took forever. It took forever because this is the one thing Triple H does not get about professional wrestling, is that long does not equal good. Good equals good, and sometimes you can take a long time to get to that, but you gotta know when you're going from if you're making pasta, for example, there's a very fine line between al dente and soggy, and just soggy, pasty, gluey noodles. And Triple H has turned this bloodline storyline into a sop of goopy spaghetti. And there is not a spaghetti sauce in the world that can make that taste good now. And that's really where we are. That's where we are. He is letting this storyline rot. He's letting it spoil and mold in the refrigerator. It is burning in the oven. And he's going to leave it in there until nobody wants to eat it anymore. And that's what it's coming at with me. And here's the thing that gets me. The idiocy of doing this when your WrestleMania is in Philadelphia, of all places. The last time that WWE had Roman Reigns and The Rock in the main event of a pay-per-view in Philadelphia was Royal Rumble 2015, and that went so well for them that The Rock, that image of The Rock being confused why everyone was booing Roman Reigns, I expect to see that look on his face when this Philadelphia crowd outwardly rejects this main event. And I went from not wanting to watch this match to being unbelievably, morbidly curious about how badly Philadelphia is going to shit on the head of this main event. And that's exactly what's going to happen. That is exactly what's going to happen. Philadelphia is going to reject this. CM Punk chants are going to be louder than they have ever been in history. Because this pipe bomb promo that everyone is quoting right now, the fact is, that pipe bomb promo cut 13 years ago, 12 and a half if you want to get technical. 13 years ago, CM Punk cut the greatest wrestling promo in the history of professional wrestling. No one has cut a promo that accurate, that time-tested, that real in the history of professional wrestling, going all the way back to the territories. Nobody has cut a promo like that. Nobody ever will cut a promo like that. And the fact that it is more relevant now than it was when he cut it, with the change in management that he's had and that this company has had over the past 2 weeks, is the most depressing part of all this. I said a year ago that Triple H was not going to do anything foundation breaking with his booking. And I really thought over the past year and a half that maybe we'd be proven wrong, and in some cases we were. But fundamentally speaking, WWE is gonna WWE, which means if the right guy is supposed to be in the main event and win the title, he won't be. You'll get a celebrity. You'll get a top guy of old. It's the same model, it's just different people in it. It's the same system, just different people in it. That's all that it is. And I know that Josh again feels pretty stupid, and I feel kind of stupid myself for getting my hopes up, because this was the eventuality we all feared was going to happen. Was that it was going to change, but it wasn't going to change. And reality speaking, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And we shouldn't have gotten our hopes up, and now it's time to go back to keeping pretty much all professional wrestling at arm's length, because nobody knows how to do it. Nobody knows how to do it and actually make people want to see the product and pay off what you build. The problem is Triple H does not know when to pay things off. He did it night one last year with Kevin and Sammy. But that was it. That was the one and only time that he has figured out exactly when to pull the trigger. And the thing is, I really do believe that the fans are going to destroy this main event. This is going to be maybe the swan song of Triple H as far as people wanting to, believe in the booking, and it's going to reflect in the ratings. If they go down this path, they'll make record money, but I bet you when they move to Netflix, there's going to be a lot of people who go, well, it's not on network TV anymore, and it's clearly not going to be so redefining in its booking and how they treat the talent that, do I really want to pay another $10 to go watch Netflix when I'm already paying $5 to $15 to watch Peacock and watch the premium live events? Do I really want to spend the money on a streaming service? No, I don't. No, I don't. And I know I'm not going to be the only one who feels that way. There's going to be a lot of people that all of this good news, all the good news that we reported this week where we were so favorable about, in one night, gone. In a cloud of smoke, Triple H just undid everything he has built. In true Vince McMahon fashion, he really has formed himself into the son-in-law of the billionaire. Now, hopefully Triple H is a little bit more morally coherent than Vince McMahon, but I will say this. I think there are a lot of names still left to be revealed as far as who knew what and what happened. So if you think Triple H won't be implied, you might be very wrong about that. I might be very wrong about that. And in 2-3 years' time, we may have no semblance of anyone who is involved in the WWE in the WWE anymore. Triple H could be gone. Stephanie's not there anymore, but she's still implied in it. They could have to sell their shares. Bruce Pritchard could be out of there. The whole thing could be board wiped. And I still don't have any faith that anything would change. Because the product wouldn't improve beyond that, because all you're doing is getting someone less qualified to be there. And the people who are qualified are the people who like to jerk the dedicated around. And I get this whole philosophy, and I truly believe that what Triple H is trying to do is make Raw the mark program. The people who care about the work rate. Let's put Gunther on there. He's a great wrestler. Let's put Rollins as champion. He's one of the greatest they have. Let's put Cody there. They love him and they want to see him. Let's put Punk there. He's going to be a dynamic guy, and the marks love CM Punk. And let's put Drew there to kind of round it all out. Meanwhile, SmackDown's got the stars. It's got LA Knight, whose work is good, but his talking's what got him there. You got Roman Reigns, who is literally just General Hospital, but it's Samoan General Hospital is what we've got there, and that's what's drawing people to watch. And you've got Randy Orton there, who's the old stalwart, who's people still love and respect, and Nick Aldis, who is finding his footing as a general manager to add into the dramatic piece of it. So really, what you've got is Raw for the marks and SmackDown for the general public. And that's obviously the direction that WWE and Triple H have decided to take in lieu of this CM Punk injury. Cody and Seth are going to wrestle in probably what will be a terrific match that is also going to be shit on because nobody wanted this. Nobody wanted to see Cody and Seth. They're going to dump on that match. They're going to be sad instead of cheer for Cody if/when he wins it and Damian Priest cashes in on it, which is guaranteed what's going to happen. You think Cody's going to hold that belt and keep that belt for longer than 35 seconds? No. Cody Rhodes gets nothing. Cody Rhodes is literally the kid from Caddyshack. You'll get nothing and like it. And I am really, what comes to my mind is what Vince said to Triple H after the curtain call. When Triple H was the only one who was going to get punished, Vince McMahon, and this is a direct quote, said to Triple H, "Sometimes, Hunter, you just have to learn to eat shit and like the taste of it." And I guarantee you, Triple H said those exact words to Cody Rhodes before this happened. I guarantee it. And this is how it pertains to me and how it pertains to all of this is that I had some hope, but there's a reason I wanted us to watch TNA. There's a reason I have been slowly but surely just so unequivocally angry at Tony Khan for blowing his opportunity at this, that he is just a complete waste of time, and AEW is a complete waste of space, a bigger waste of time and space than the WWE investment, deciding to revert back to old habits. And TNA started building a little momentum, which is why I'm like, let's check this out. Let's see if it's any good. Turned out to be better than expected, so we're going to keep watching TNA. And what I'm pitching is we're going to watch this WrestleMania, which was going to be one of the all-time great WrestleManias, but now I'm watching it for the same reason I watched the other ones, which is to just see how badly they fuck it up. Because that's where we're at, is how badly can they book this to oblivion? How bad can they make it? And that reversion of the, man, they've got so many things that they can do, and they've got all these layers, and I trust Triple H. Not a week ago, I kept saying trust the process, and in one night, they proved me wrong. In one night, they made me look like a complete moron for saying trust the process. I'm here to tell you right now, folks, never trust the WWE process. It is not meant for you to enjoy. Just remember that. And that is coming from somebody who has been hurt so many times by this company. That the fact that they decided to just usk Cody aside is perfectly indicative of what they are. It's what WWE has become because they have no competition, never did, haven't for 20 years, have not had competition. So when you are that arrogant in the I can get away with jerking people around because who's gonna step up and stop us? Tony Khan? Yeah, we saw how well that worked out. And I just don't have any more in me to have any faith in WWE. We're going to watch it. I'm going to watch this because I want to see how badly this WrestleMania flops. And let me get back to Cody Rhodes for a second. Cody Rhodes is finished. He's done. He's never going to get back to the level of popularity you wanted him, and you had him at the time when he came back from the injury, from the gutsy performance. He won the Rumble, he claimed his spot, and then you took it away from him because he hadn't faced adversity. And now he's had this whole year to face adversity, and now, oh, here's The Rock. Let's just undo 2 years of that. If they had blue-balled Stone Cold Steve Austin in 1997 and 1998, WWE would have lost to WCW. Just think about that. If they blue-balled Steve Austin in the peak of his popularity, the same way they blue-balled Cody Rhodes at the peak of his, WWE would have lost. Even with the management problems WCW had, if they did this, there would have been no chance they survived. And that's the bottom line. Because Stone Cold said so. Because at that time, there was an incentive to make a star and cement him as a star. They have no such incentive now. They're comfortable. WWE is comfortable, and that is the thing. They were slightly uncomfortable when they lost Vince. initially, which is why Triple H made such an effort at first. But now he's relaxed into the role, and no matter what you can say about the bad publicity of the whole Vince McMahon scandal is, as a booker, and specifically just in the booking atmosphere, he is now comfortable, which means we are now back to no expectations. And therefore, I will have no expectations for the WWE anymore. And it also means that we're going to go back to our let's just check up on it in the big four and not worry about it. As this podcast has gone back and forth, we waited and watched all last year as they had good pay-per-view after good pay-per-view after good pay-per-view after good pay-per-view with some all right pay-per-views in between, but nothing terrible, nothing heartbreaking as far as destroying what you had built. Everything still felt like build. Now you have built this house and you are flying so close to the sun that you don't even feel that your wings are burning. And right now, I cannot wait for Icarus to fall down and land straight on his neck. Because that's what Philadelphia WrestleMania Night 2 with Rock and Roman in the main event is going to be. It's going to be loud, but it's not going to be the reaction they think it's going to be. And again, it is early. They've still got 2 months to swerve us all and put Cody back in and take The Rock out, or maybe they face each, they've got time. They've got time to undo it. But the damage is done. Psychologically, symbolically, the damage is done. And I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. In one night, to undo everything in one night is just unbelievable to me. To think that you would take what you had given and just throw it aside. And for a lot of people who were really ready for this, they were ready for it last year. And they were still holding out hope for it this year. But you can't do it a third year with Cody Rhodes. You can't. Because you can only milk this for so long, and that Cody ship has sailed. And let's say that they have Cody win it next year. I really don't think it's going to matter. I really don't think it's going to matter. It will not have the same effect. The fans at that point, because we're a bunch of fickle bitches, everyone will have turned on Cody being the guy at that point. No one will want to see it because it took too long to get there. And there are going to be people calling for Solo to win it. There's going to be people calling for other people to win it, Gunther to win it. Literally, there will be somebody else who is going to take that moniker away from Cody, and Cody will never get his belt. Not the way that he should have. And that's the thing that really is just deflating about this, is I want to be wrong. I wanted WWE to prove me wrong, but it can't stop itself from proving me right. And at this point, I don't have any faith in anybody's booking or philosophy about wrestling other than mine. And this is an egotistical statement. This is the ego portion of this podcast. Because for 3 years, Skylar and I built fantasy booking that I would watch more than any programming right now that is on television, period. It's Colonial Impact Wrestling, what I've done for CIW, link in the description. Making that what it's been after a 10-year anniversary that has been unbelievably entertaining and fun, and the storylines that have been put in have been layered and lengthy, but they're ending at the time they need to end. There's been build, and truthfully, I think that my wrestling mind is better than anyone's better judgment with a position of opportunity in the companies that are out there right now. Because I don't trust Triple H anymore. That was broken. And even if they try to redo it, not anymore. I will never trust Triple H again to do the right thing because of this night. Because of what took place on this SmackDown, I can never trust that Triple H is going to do the right thing. Tony Khan, that's a joke. My 13-year-old ass, my 13-year-old left ass cheek could beat Tony Khan in booking, let alone my brain now. All I have to do is have some semblance of cognitive thought, and I could do a better job than Tony Khan has. As far as TNA is concerned, they're getting there. They're the only ones that I have any vote of confidence are actually trying to build themselves. And just kind of a little side note here, I love what they're doing with Nick Nemeth and Steve Macklin, and I really do enjoy, and I did enjoy, Frankie Kazarian's promo, basically turning heel, saying he turned on Eric Young, became very selfish, tired of being unappreciated as just a soldier instead of the guy and the face. He did a great job with it. And there's people in TNA that are passionate and care, and I'm interested to see where they take this. Because there's momentum in TNA. There's hope in TNA. There was hope in WWE. Gone. And now, can you imagine, in 2024, TNA being the only wrestling company that has any hope whatsoever? That is sad. That is depressingly sad. And I'm sitting here going, I could do it better than anybody. I just don't have the opportunity. I just don't have the opportunity to do it and actually be, and I understand there's a lot of pressures with contracts, and I don't know the business side of it, right? I will openly admit, I would not be good in the business acumen of it. But given the way the Royal Rumble sounded like an E-Fed, I could do better commentary than the commentators there. I could do better booking than the bookers there. I could do better promos than the promos there, save for a handful of people. Right now, I find myself feeling like I could outdo almost everybody in WWE, save for the wrestling and the business. And that is an attitude I shouldn't have to have. I should have no confidence in myself at all that I would compete with people like the WWE, because they should be so much head and shoulders better. But I don't feel that way. And I don't see it that way. And they clearly don't see it that way either. And so now I'm at a point where I feel like I'm better than everybody here. And so what do? I can't, I could try to enter the business, sure. But to what end? If the established order is going to continue to be the established order, I'm either going to come in to help it, or I'm going to end up destroying it by just being halfway decent at it. Skylar, I trust Skylar's booking. As WWE as it was, I trust Skylar's way of doing it better than what the WWE or anyone else is doing right now. Even Josh Again's E-Fed nonsensical SCCG Anthony Corelli world title wearing horseshit, I would trust more right now. This is not okay. This is not right. And this is why we always have to remind ourselves, and we're always given these reminders, that wrestling isn't made for fans of wrestling anymore. And that's the truth. It's not the truth you want to hear. It's not the truth we want to feel. But for people who truly love wrestling, who truly passionately care about wrestling and paying off the stories, and it's not even about the work rate. I could give a shit. I'm an old school guy. I like punches, kicks, and body language. That's fine with me, so long as it's not a 45-minute match where it's just walking around and chatting like a Roman Reigns match, which at this point, let's talk about that for a second. You have now made sure that the end game, if Rock and Roman is main eventing, that's not in doubt. So Roman's winning, so there's no need to watch it. Except for the reason I'm going to, which is going to be for the lulz, to watch how Philly takes a dump all over it. They're going to pass Hogan's record in September. Can you tell me anyone is going to give a shit about that title by then? I know I won't. And to the point there is, I'm not going to watch any more Roman Reigns matches. After this match with The Rock, that's it. I'm not watching another one. I've seen it. It's going to keep going. I don't care. I do not care about Roman Reigns and Samoan General Hospital. I don't. I used to. They had an opportunity, but they have subsequently run me off because they just can't get to the fucking point. And now, I don't know if they even know what the point is. I'm not even sure they have a point anymore. And if we're just going to blather on and just keep talking and talking and talking and talking and change nothing, then what are we even doing anymore? I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed because I don't want to feel like I'm better than the people professionally doing this sport and this industry. I shouldn't feel that way. And yet here we are. So, folks, stay tuned in the Court Martial podcast. We're going to be doing stuff other than pay-per-view reviews over the course of this year. We're going to continue with Guess the Card. I'm going to actually, in the interest of vanity and seeing how everyone's just jacking themselves off without any care of anyone interested in the product, I'm going to do the same thing. I mentioned a year ago that I wanted to do the story of National Wrestling Entertainment, which was the wrestling company I came up with at 11 years old to complement a wrestling career that I made up in my brain for me. And you know what? You're going to get to hear all about it. I have a binder that is an 1.5 inch thick, chock full of details that I came up, and I'm telling you that teenage me, with a handful of exceptions, was better at this, is better at this. And I will demonstrate that moment by moment. And this is my official final end of this, and then I'm going to let it go. I am challenging the entire wrestling industry, whether that's Triple H or TNA or AEW. I challenge anyone to book better than me. Anyone. I will go up against you. You name the level of competition and how we do it. I don't care. I challenge Triple H. I challenge Scott D'Amore. I challenge Tony Khan, who will fail. I challenge anyone out there to do better than me. And no one will answer that challenge because I have the passion and I don't have the resources. I don't have the funds. I don't have the outreach. And I don't have the connections to actually make it. But I promise you, if it comes down to it, hook or crook, line me up against anyone else and I will win. I will win. I will have the better program. I will have the better product, and I will make it more entertaining for all of the people who give a shit about professional wrestling. I will do it better because the bar right now is so low, I barely need to lift my leg to walk over it. That's where the standard is, and with the wrestling business so fundamentally broken, boom period or otherwise, it's not about the bucks to me. It's not about the dollars. It's about what matters. It's about the passion. It's about professional wrestling. And until these people are put in their place, all we're gonna get is perpetual pissing on our faces, and I for one am tired of getting shit on. So I challenge anyone, step up to me, but no one's got the guts because this industry is full of cowards. And now we know that we're not just jumping the shark, we're just stranded in the ocean treading water, which is all WWE is gonna be. Prove me wrong, but you won't. I expected spectacular, but all I got was more of the same horse shit. And that's where we're at, folks. Where I'm cutting a promo challenging bookers of real wrestling sports to do better than I am because I know I could do better than they could. That's my ego right now is at a dictatorial level when it comes to professional wrestling because I have no faith that anyone actually knows how to do it. Except for Jim Cornette, maybe, but he has no interest in it because he realized years and years ago that this cause was lost. And maybe we're just all stupid for being along for the ride as long as we have. But that's going to do it for this edition. I'm over this. I'm over the way that this has gone down. We're going to watch WrestleMania 40. We're going to do what we did. And then we're going to do what we did at the end of 39 and 38, where we're just going to do whatever we want. And we're not going to have any loyalty to any company at all because nobody's better than us. And nobody can prove us wrong. That is very, very clear. We'll see you next time.